There's certainly some conversations about whether or not Bruce Brown will be here next season, but the conversations go beyond just Bruce Brown. They go to the entire roster. So let's go through everybody and determine how likely it should be for them to stay or leave throughout this NBA offseason. The Amateur Hour Production Network is dedicated to Toronto Raptors content. We do videos and we also do live streams, which go long on the main channel. So to make it easier for you guys to watch and to digest, we have the Amateur Hour Clips channel. We're going to take the best highlights and segments from those live streams on Amateur Hour Sports and put them right here for you to enjoy. So if you like what you see along the way, make sure you do hit that like button and also subscribe to the channel as well. With so much consistent content coming out as well as post-game shows during the season, you're not going to want to miss out. We're going to go through each of the players on this team individually here. We have, I might be guilty here of going through too many categories. We have 7 different tiers here to rank on this tier list. We have the locks, the very likely staying, the probably staying, the 50-50, which I'm not sure, the probably gone, the very likely gone, and the straight up not going to be here. Like, not going to be here. And there's at least one player who's going into that category. So let's get started here. Going in the random order that Tier Maker has assigned me, we're going to start with Gary Trent Jr. This is a difficult one. You know what's great? We're starting off with a difficult one. Gary Trent Jr., I genuinely think he likes playing in Toronto. I think he likes it here. He seems in a good headspace, which he wasn't when he was playing in the Western Conference, when he wasn't when he was playing with Portland. I think he likes it here. Financially, I can see the Raptors not wanting to lose yet another player for nothing. Hopefully, Gary Trent kind of respectfully understands his position and how he performed this season, not just how he finished the season. But in trying to keep this going, my gut's telling me he probably stays. I'm close to giving him a 50-50, but I think a deal is going to get worked out, and Gary Trent probably stays at the end of the day. Garrett Temple is a player I've kind of switched on because it's very clear from the offseason that Raptors players loved having Garrett Temple on the team. Is that worth a roster spot? Is that worth a $3 million salary, whatever it was? To me, maybe not, but I'm not there on the inside. He's gotten glowing comments from teammates. I have another player here, once again, going into the probably staying category. If Garrett Temple's not going to retire, I don't know. It seemed like he got on with the players, coming back for another year. I mean, there's probably other teams who want that sort of vet presence. Now I'm talking myself out of it a bit because if other teams want that vet presence, maybe he moves to 50-50. I'll go with my gut and say probably staying. Probably staying. On to Emmanuel quickly. Pretty much a lock, but because he's a restricted free agent and there's a potential for another team to throw him a big offer, very likely staying. Probably should be a lock, but just because of the very small, but there are questions about his restricted free agency, let's toss him into the very likely staying category. Now, another difficult player here, Jakob Poeltl. The difficulty for Poeltl is a lot of people want him gone. I don't know. For Raptors fans, like, you guys want this team to be better next season, to make the playoffs next season. Jakob Poeltl is a quality NBA starting center. A very good defender, good on offense, connects the offense pretty well with his passing. We saw how much of an impact he made on the team when he wasn't there. He's a great player. Nick Claxton, I think, is a pipe dream. So, Jakob Poeltl on $20 million a year, I think that's great value for 3 more years. If he has a desire to be here, I don't see the sense in trading for him. Like, what center are you going to be able to get for that money who brings this value to the team? And for people saying you want a floor spacing center, like, what floor spacing center are you going to get? There's just no realistic way to improve on this position. So for that reason, Jakob Poeltl, I don't really see why or how the trade would go down. I think he's very likely staying. I'd be shocked if Jakob Poeltl wasn't a Raptor to start next season, honestly. That's just not something that I see going down. He's a quality center. His playmaking, passing, screen setting is spacing the floor. Just because he can't shoot doesn't mean he can't space the floor in other ways. Very likely staying. Jordan Nwora, 50-50. I can see him fitting into a 12 to 15-man slot if he liked it here. His defense is just so bad. That's the problem. I like that he can play a lot of roles and he can get hot on offense. Defensively, there's issues. If he's playing on a day-to-day basis, a game-to-game basis, you've probably, respectfully, made a mistake in your offseason and the way you've built your roster. But I kind of want it to go probably gone, but I will still go 50-50 for him. Kelly Olynyk just signed an extension. He's a lock. I don't see why the Raptors would trade him. Don't see the Raptors making a move for a superstar, a star in any way. They don't have the... Well, I guess they would have the pick flexibility potentially on the way. But even still, what would be the point? He really likes it here. He's a great vet for this team. I think Kelly Olynyk's pretty much a lock. Nothing more to it. Jalen McDaniels is a tough one. If I had my way... yeah, I don't have my way. The reality is he's on a 2-year contract. Second year of the contract coming up. $4.5 million. $4.5 million is not crippling enough of a contract to say that you absolutely have to move on from it or buy him out. You probably just suck it up for another year. So Jalen McDaniels, unfortunately, probably stays. I almost want to put him very likely, but I can see the Raptors trying to manufacture a way to get off that contract. Next, Javon Freeman-Liberty. So Javon Freeman-Liberty's contract situation is if he makes the Raptors roster after training camp, if he makes the Raptors final roster, he's guaranteed for the whole season. So the Raptors would have to feel confident enough in guaranteeing a full year of a contract for Javon Freeman-Liberty that they're going to give that to him over maybe signing somebody else on a cheaper, non-guaranteed deal. For that reason, he's probably gone. He has a chance to earn himself a spot. I don't think he particularly wowed anybody with his performances in the final stretch of the season. Not saying he was bad, but again, he's not really wowing you. Not a terrific defender, not a terrific shooter. Is there really a need for what should become the third point guard on the team to not have shooting or defense? I don't know. I don't really think so. I guess it will depend if the Raptors address the point guard depth on the team this summer, which they haven't done for 3 years, so maybe they don't do it again. But I'd be a little bit surprised if Freeman-Liberty made the roster for next year for the guaranteed contract that I've outlined just now. Mohamed Ugay is good for the Raptors on a 5. I don't see him staying. Very likely gone for me. We'll try to earn an NBA spot somewhere, but I think he's like 26 years old already. I just don't see him doing enough to earn himself a spot. You kind of want to root for these guys who've hustled to earn their opportunities, but unfortunately, I just don't really see enough talent there for him to get on the roster. For all these guys, like for a guy like him, for Freeman-Liberty, I love for them to rise up, prove me wrong, and have a great training camp and earn themselves a roster spot. But I just don't really see it. A bit of a shame. I just don't really see it though. Grady Dick is I want to put him as a lock, but yeah, I have to. Once again, I don't see the Raptors making a move for like a big star in the offseason. If they did, then Grady Dick might be a sweetener in that trade. Really don't see that move coming. Grady Dick performed very admirably towards the end of the season. From like the middle of the season onwards, once he found his footing, once he found his range, he was terrific. I have big hopes for Grady Dick. I'm sure the Raptors do as well. DJ Carden's an unfortunate one here. He got injured right after signing a 2-way contract, so we didn't really get a view of him. They liked him enough to give him a 2-way contract right out of a 10-day contract, so I'll go 50-50 here. He should have the opportunity to impress in training camp, and if he does, I can see the Raptors giving him another chance on that 2-way deal. Look good in those spells that he had on the court, even amidst the Raptors tank. Give an opportunity, and I think he's got a better chance than Mohamed Ugay and Javon Freeman-Liberty of earning himself a roster spot. So DJ Carden, the milk carton, fits into 50-50. Bruce Brown, we just talked about him in length here, but I don't see any reason to let him walk. I struggle to see the Raptors trading him this summer. He's probably staying. I could see a sign and trade, but I see Raptors hanging on to him towards the the next trade deadline and see what they can get there. Chris Boucher, he's got to be. You know what? We're not going to be as aggressive and put him gone. Very, very likely, though. You'll have to find somebody to take that, $12 million contract. But Darko does not like him. There were some games where the Raptors were ravaged with injuries in the absolute pit of the tank hell we endured, and he still would not give Chris Boucher minutes. Doesn't click. Chris Boucher, I'll commend him because I'll give him credit because he maintained professionalism throughout, but the Raptors are going to do everything possible, I think, to trade that contract in the summer. RJ Barrett's a lock. One of the biggest locks on here. He was tremendous for the Raptors. He's locked in on a big contract that teams aren't going to want to take on. Absolute lock. And he'd be the biggest lock if it weren't for Scotty Barnes. We're past the days of thinking, hey, should we have traded him for Kevin Durant? I never bought into that notion. Absolutely not. But that is the centerpiece. That is a superstar. We are building this team for him, around him. Ochai Agbaji, very likely staying. I mean, where is he going to go? Where is he going to get traded? What's going to happen to Ochai Agbaji? Nobody's going to come knocking. Raptors are going to be comfortable to hang on to him and try to work through development. As for gone, Malik Williams, his contract's up. He's gone. I mean, he's not going to be here. And I won't go too in for Malik's sake. We'll leave it at Malik Williams is not an NBA caliber player, and he made that abundantly obvious in pretty much every minute that he was on the floor for the Raptors this season. Sorry, Malik. But yeah, what do you guys think? How did I do? Who would you put in a different category? What did I get right? You guys got to let me know.